Contrarians, welcome back to the Encrypted Capital Recap for Monday, December 27th. So we're going on 1 year now of making videos, and so today want to kind of do things a little bit differently and kind of just have a free-form conversation about crypto, where we're at, where we expect to be going here in the new year. So to help me with this, I got my partner Rocky here, and we're going to just shoot the shit and let you guys know what's up.
Let it roll.
Let it roll. So first thing we saw here, and I know Backer talked about this morning, was the fact that the Bitcoin dominance was falling. That's what we've been talking to our subscribers about now for a little while, something that we were anticipating having happen, which would be very, very positive for the altcoins. Not so good for Bitcoin, but that's exactly what we want, as most of you guys know that we are completely out of Bitcoin and have been for quite some time now. Now we're looking for the rest of these assets to take off. So
where do you want that to go? What's the bottom?
I would like to see it dip into the 30s, right? So if we look back here, we can kind of see that when it started dipping below like 35, 36% dominance, that's what we had back over in December of 2017. That was really when all the altcoins started to take off. That's when we saw basically everything start going to the upside. We saw a lot of 100% gains in a day. And that's really a telltale sign of stuff that we're looking for, is when do we start seeing like 10 to 15 assets that are in the top 100 start to do those types of gains in a day? Because when that happens, that's going to be like the telltale sign that it's go time and that it's going to be the altcoins time to really shine.
The mythical alt season.
Yeah, the mythical alt season. And so, we saw that back in May. We dipped just below 40%. We were around the 39% range. And then we kind of pulled a U-turn May 15th. And then we saw that Bitcoin dominance start to rise back up here and go back into the, 49 percentile range. And so that's going to be, the most epic time is when we start to see these, really nice dips below into the 30s to really start seeing some upside pressure here for the altcoins. And so I think that now that we saw that huge major sell-off, that liquidation of like $2.5 billion that happened on December 3rd, so much liquidity got wiped off the market, so many retail traders got washed out, and now I feel like there's really no room left to go down. A lot of it is going to be upside to find more liquidity. So that's what I think is going to happen. We need to get in those 30 percentile ranges, but how long that takes is anybody's guess. But if I were to put out an educated guess, I do think like, mid-January, once all these companies start coming back in, they're starting to reallocate what they want to see happen for 2022. I think we're going to see a lot of people start to come back into the market, savvy retail traders, and then the savvy institutions as well, really start funneling those crazy gains they got in their Bitcoin portfolio into these other assets.
And historically, how much time is out there for us to make those gains?
Well, I posted some charts for the members, and so we were looking at, we saw XRP is basically the middle of December, last bull cycle. The move it made, it was a 1,500% move, so 15x your money, and the move was so quick, it happened literally in 30 days.
Okay.
We saw Tron do a similar move in 30 days as far as the time goes, but Tron did 15,000%. So these moves are quick, and everybody's going to think that they're a genius when they start seeing all these crazy gains happen, but I feel like a lot of people are going to be hanging on, assuming it's going to go even higher, because it is such a quick move that takes place where people are going to be caught off guard and they're going to be holding into a bear market. And our whole goal is to exit when everybody's FOMOing in, right? We want to be selling our massive positions to those people that are, just starting to see all their friends make a ton of money and they don't want to be left behind. And that's the time that we want to start unloading our bags, is when, you start seeing those crazy, you're in the market for a couple weeks and you start seeing that you made 10x your money. Well, we're going to start pulling profits at that time.
So to that point, that's why there'd be enough liquidity in the market to actually take your gains off the table?
Yeah, I think so, because you're going to start seeing mainstream media pumping out how, the altcoin market's going absolutely crazy, and they're going to start throwing out crazy price predictions for like Ethereum and for XRP and some of these other assets. And so you're going to start seeing, Ethereum 100K when it's only going to go up to, let's say, 15 to 20K. XRP, $500 or 589, right? Or something crazy.
Right.
And it may only go up to $30 to $50, right? So those are the things that you're going to want to be aware of, is when you start seeing those crazy price predictions come out, and when you start seeing the douchebags like Brian Kelly start saying, hey guys, get into Ethereum, this is the best time to get in, or XRP or whatever it might be. They're going to start showing the retail traders how to buy, or the novice traders, the people that are, your mom or dad, or people like those that
So what you're telling me is if I see George Stephanopoulos throwing out some XRP, I got to get out.
yeah, I think that, a lot of these people that are in the markets at 17 cents for XRP, let's say, they're going to start pulling profits at $10, 11, $12. Those are significant, when you look at the Fibonacci retracements and the 4.236s, a lot of those, a lot of those retracement points line up to that $10 to $13 range. And I don't think it's going to stop necessarily at 10 to $13. Anytime we get into some crazy FOMO type of scenario where we start to see, these extensions get hit, they always get overextended, just like they always get overextended on a sell-off, right? Like we saw XRP literally go from $2 to 40 cents over the course of several months, right? And a lot of people didn't think it was going to hit 40 cents on the 3rd of December. There was no way. But again, with those overextensions, right, and people panic sell and overextend the market, and then they FOMO buy and overextend the market. So you want to get those general price areas where you're starting to pull profits off of, and you're not going to be holding on for dear life thinking that $500 is going to come through. You're going to want to be smart and pull some profits off the table, especially if you're buying at those low prices. Why wouldn't you take money off the table if you're 40 or 50x up on your position, right? I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
people are going to get caught up when they start to see all this mainstream news attention come into play. So, and then one thing I saw here was this Mexican billionaire. He was saying to buy Bitcoin in a New Year's message. And you know how we don't trust the billionaires over here, but he was saying, life advice from Mexico's third richest person: don't be jealous, believe in yourself, and buy Bitcoin. Buying an asset that's completely overextended by 15x, I mean, is that the smart play? You guys kind of know what we think, and that's going to be no, right? Steer clear of fiat money, he says. Whether it's the dollar, the euro, or the yen, it's all the same. It's fake money made of paper lies. Central banks are producing more than ever. And when I see stuff like that, part of me agrees with him, right? Because it is fake money. Fiat money is fake. It's not backed by anything, but neither is Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it just has value because people say it does. Yeah, so what? It's got a great network behind it and the supply is limited. I mean, I could make a dog shit coin and do the same thing and say, hey, I just sold, if I have a million coins and I sell one for $1, well, now it's a $1 million market cap, right? I can go ahead and say that this has value because it's a limited amount, but who cares if no one's using it? If there's no use case, it has no value, right? So,
Well, to me, it seems like there's competing narratives out there. You've got billionaires trying to pump up Bitcoin, or you've got the Warren Buffetts, the Trumps, holding on to the dollar and scared to make that leap. So what do you think's behind that? I mean, other than the usual.
Yeah, I think that anytime you guys are gonna take like the billionaires with like a grain of salt, right? So anything they say, you really have to be careful of. So if they're telling you to do something, like Robert Kiyosaki was coming out the other day saying that, or not the other day, a couple months ago, saying there's going to be a huge crash in the stock market in October, and we continue to set new record highs, right? And so for me, and you guys know this because you guys have been following our channel for quite some time, the billionaires need somebody to sell their bags to. So when Michael Saylor comes out and says he's buying more Bitcoin and his average entry price is 30 grand, I tend to think that he's probably been buying it since like 3 or 4 grand. And we saw when Elon Musk came out late last year, or I should say earlier in the year, stating that they were buying and adding Tesla to the balance sheets, you had a 3 month distribution pattern forming, and then Bitcoin collapsed on itself. And so I think that really adds a lot of weight to the fact that when these guys come out, especially in the mainstream media, and they start saying to buy these assets, they're selling to you. I mean, it's so obvious. And so you have to have a contrarian mindset and look the other way and find out, okay, what are these other assets I can get into that are undervalued, that are significantly off of their all-time high, that have real utility that no one's talking about. That's where you're going to make all your money. And Warren Buffett has said that time and time again. You want to look where other people aren't looking. You want to find undervalued projects. Bitcoin's so overvalued. So when I start to see this gentleman here from this Mexican billionaire, don't be jealous, believe in yourself, and buy Bitcoin. It's like, okay, that's not the best spot to be putting your money at. 15x from the lows, that's where you want to be putting your money? Or do you want to be looking at an XRP that's got cut a deal with over 300 banks and they're still trading at 70% off the previous high? That makes more sense to me than anything, right? So, yeah, I mean, you guys know this. We don't trust them one bit. They got to sell their bags to somebody. So we want to align ourselves with assets that have yet to really make a significant move, not something that's already gone up 1,500%.
Is it just an addiction? I mean, how many billions do they need? You know, the whole Elon thing always is just like, man, to give it a break. It's a double-edged sword. You know, he's getting it out there, you know, as a more mainstream way of doing things, but then, you know, selling his bags on us, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I think I understand to a certain extent, right? So, like, you make a lot of money, you're going to want to make even more money. You want to see how far you can take it, right? There's nothing wrong, I guess, with being greedy and wanting to make as much money as you possibly can. But you got to beware that the only way they make money trading, with trading being a zero sum game, is they're going to have to take the little guys' money, right? And so we're little guys, we're not billionaires by any means. And, if he can just go ahead and literally work for 8 seconds and send out a tweet and go ahead and move the market up 15%, and he's trading on margin with longs, and to that point, he actually came out and said, oh, well, I'd actually be doing myself a disservice because I'm pushing the price down by these tweets. Well, you think that people are idiots and they know that you can't make money shorting? Of course we know that, right? So for him to come out and say that, oh, I'm doing myself a disservice, well, no, you're not, because if you have any idea at all of what you're doing, and of course he does because he's got so much money, of course he knows that if he can push the market down by stating that Dogecoin is a hustle, right? And he can go ahead and send it 50% the other way.
Isn't that illegal?
And make it. I mean,
he's admitting that he's manipulating the market, so to speak.
Yeah, when he came out the other day and said, "Oh, well, markets move randomly for no reason at all,"
Right.
and it's like, okay, he's just full of shit.
Right.
He's full of shit at the end of the day. He's there to take your money. He's there to take my money, and we want to call him out on it because, a lot of these people that are in the markets, they've had their businesses decimated over the last 2 years by what's going on in the world, and they're trying to make up for these losses essentially by playing the crypto market. And so if we can help people look out for some of these pitfalls for what these guys are putting out in the mainstream media, and look for the undervalued assets and get their feet planted way before it starts being talked about in the mainstream media, I think that's always been my whole goal with this company, and what we're trying to accomplish here is look out for the little guy and make them aware of what these big whales are trying to do, because they're only going to win by taking the little guy's money. I mean, that's why you saw Brian Kelly come out on January 6th of 2018 and show everybody how to buy XRP. It was literally the very top of the market. And why was that? It was because that was providing liquidity for people to now jump into the market and buy what it is they were telling them to buy on CNBC, because they've already been accumulating these assets since 0.0013 cents, and now it's trading at 360. Well, now's the time to exit. How are we going to do it? Well, the only way we can do it is getting liquidity by showing people, showing the public on the financial news outlets how to buy these assets. And so,
Sure.
We don't buy that one bit. And I think it's important that people realize that that's how the game is played. And, you're only going to know this stuff if you've either been in the market for a long time like us, or you go back and you kind of look at the charts from a couple of years ago and kind of see what's been happening and how this game has been played and how a lot of the times, 90% of the herd, there's a reason they get slaughtered, and there's a reason that only 10% actually make any real money is because of these reasons we just listed, right? So, is it legal? No. I think that more than likely you have these big guys are in bed with the SEC. They're all in on it together. I mean, you think these guys don't go and just have dinner? It's just like the Republican and Democratic Party, right? You think these guys aren't all friends? It doesn't really matter what side of the aisle they're on. They all have one common goal, and that's to make as much money as possible. So, I think this whole SEC, Elon hating the SEC and all this other stuff, it's just smoke and mirrors, just like the XRP lawsuit.
Man,
So.
that's super annoying. I think he also is very addicted to the attention. So, anytime he can get out there and be public, he'll do it.
Yeah, I think so too. And, his other shillings of Doge and Shiba and all this other stuff, it's just another way for them to make more money. Because at the end of all this, what do you really have left if you have 4 billion Shiba Inu, right? Like, what is there aside from hype? I mean, nothing really. I think that we're still largely in a speculative market, and the utility hasn't really come and shown through yet, right? Like, XRP is not being used for international cross-border settlements yet on a mainstream scale, right? It's still very speculative. And so I think that more than likely the next bull run that we see is when the utility comes into play. It's when you see the ISO tokens. And to that point, I actually want to show you guys this. Like, our most viewed videos have to do with ISO20022, Altcoin, obviously, XDC, and the Corda blockchain. And the Corda blockchain being funded by 9 banks. I mean, that's huge. These guys know what's coming. They know that the utility is coming. They've set themselves up over the last 7 to 8 years now with these ISO projects. So for me, it's only a matter of time before utility leads the way, and you're not going to really be able to fall back on it being like Bitcoin being a digital gold or a store of wealth. Like, how can you have a store of wealth when the asset itself depreciates 90% in any given bear market, right? Like, okay, so you have 100 grand and now you're left with 10 when everything finally, when the bottom falls out. It doesn't really make much sense, right? So I think the store of value is bullshit in general. I think that there's a time to take profit, and if you don't, you're going to be stuck holding the bag. And I feel bad for some of my friends, because some of my friends are holding out for 120, 130K Bitcoin. They're going to have, $10 million, let's say, if it gets to that price. And there's probably a pretty good chance that we'll probably see 10 to 15 grand before we see 150 grand Bitcoin. So,
just shake them.
Yeah, so do you have the balls to hold through and watch your money evaporate? I've done that before, and I don't want to do that again. I've been through multiple bull markets and bear markets now, and there's going to come a time that you need to take profit and really capitalize on your intuition of getting into the crypto space, and not just holding on because you think it's revolutionary and you think that this time is going to be different. Because I can guarantee you, looking at it as statistically and a probability, you have a very high probability that you're going to watch your money evaporate before you start to see some crazy astronomical prices, even more than we've seen so far. So,
definitely tested our patience, or mine at least.
Yeah, in Rocky's new to the game. I mean, he's only been around for a little while now. I mean, a little over a year now, a year and a half. And we brought him in. He's coming from the banking industry, and he's one of 3 partners now. And he's gone through the ups and downs and the corrections now of the 80% in some of these assets. And I mean, you really have to have balls of steel to number one, you have to know what you're invested in, right, why you're invested in it, and not be one of those panic sellers and not be one of those FOMO buyers. And yeah, it does test your patience. I mean, you've seen it. You've watched your money go up like crazy and then come back down.
I have.
And, our whole methodology is being accumulators and rebalancers and not really day traders. And so, that's part of the ride, but there is that 30 to 60 days where the payoff is going to be absolutely massive, and you're going to have a small window of opportunity to actually take your profits and run, you know? So,
Cool.
and I think there's nothing wrong with doing that. Maybe you have two different portfolios where you have, like how we're structuring our company portfolio is you have the long-term portfolio that you never touch, however many percentages that is. And then you have your short-term portfolio where you're taking advantage of this bull run. And I think that's the best way to do it because you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Right.
And if you're wrong, you can still take advantage of it either way, right? So if we exit XRP at $13 and it goes up to 30, 40, 50, or $100, well, we're still in the game. We haven't completely exited our positions, but we did pull profit because at that point it becomes too much money to leave on the table. So
I think that's the problem. You're hoping for that number, so you got to take profit. You can't. Hope is a waning strategy. So
yeah, it's just playing it smart, right? Because you know that you're not always going to be right. You know that more often than not, you're not going to get a perfect entry and you're not going to get a perfect exit.
Oh.
Calling tops and bottoms is the most difficult thing you can probably do in this market. And, you kind of want to have one foot in and one foot out at all times. And I think that that's the best strategy, having done this for so many years, is being able to kind of straddle the line,
take profit on the ride up.
Yeah, exit dollar cost average in and then dollar cost average out. It's never going to be a fire sale where you sell everything all at once in one day, and it's never going to be a FOMO buy in everything all at once. And so I think knowing that is very, very crucial into making sure that you can make as much money as possible in these markets and know that you're not going to time everything 100% accurately. Like, yeah, you'll probably have some good entries and you're going to have some great exits, but generally speaking, dollar cost average and get your average entry prices. And when the market does give you opportunities to buy, if you have some dry powder, some free capital, lower your average price, and you don't have to sell everything when you get those crazy big candles, but it's probably going to be a good idea knowing that your window is only going to be 30 to 60 days on some of these assets. You start scaling out when you're in really good profit and,
basically buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up, right? So, and I think we're on the cusp of that right now. I think that having knocked so much of that money and liquidating so many people and just really getting the over leveraged out of the market, it was so crucial to being able to kind of move forward and start this next leg up here, because I think we are on the cusp of that. I think that you will see a lot of savvy people and investors really start to reallocate capital the first couple weeks of the new year. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it'll really catch a lot of people off guard because people were shitting their pants on December 3rd, and now the scariest times for most people are the best times to buy for the smart traders. So I saw this too. We had Shiba was the most viewed cryptocurrency in 2021, surpassing the Bitcoin market cap, which just kind of goes to show how ludicrous these markets can be and how a meme coin of a meme coin can become the 13th largest cryptocurrency in the world, while you have assets like XRP kind of just hanging out, right? Just sitting 70% off the all-time high, really not doing a whole lot. And
well, it's I think this is when we talk to people, this is why some people are concerned about it being a bubble. You have these dumb coins with $20 billion. That's what I know a lot of people worry about.
Yeah, it's there's so many coins to choose from, and so selecting the right one, how do you it's only going to come from either spending your time doing a bunch of research or kind of having somebody there to hold your hand and show you the way, basically. Right. And I think that's kind of where we come into play here is, having done this for so long, really developing a strategy to get involved in a basket of assets that have some staying power, that have really good utility, really good fundamentals, and then also lining up technically, kind of getting, confluence from both angles where that these projects aren't going anywhere. Ripple's valued at over $10 billion. They've partnered with so many banks, hundreds of banks at this point, and it seems like every week there's just more and more positive news coming out for an asset that really has yet to show us what it's made of. And yeah, and even like Zcash, for instance, still trading significantly off of its all-time high. I believe it was $4,000, and it's trading at 171 bucks. Also part of the Grayscale portfolio. Really, really solid asset. Tezos was another one that we talked about time and time again that has really kind of just been in accumulation range. If I pull up the weekly chart here, we can go ahead and see that it really has yet to make a significant move, um, you know, following a trend line. And while trend lines, aren't the end all be all, I mean, this has been a really, really um, a really good trend line that has been tested multiple times all throughout here on the weekly, and it hasn't broken down yet. So you have an accumulation range of basically 70 cents all the way up to you know 950 at the high. It really hasn't done a whole lot. It's trading at $5. Has yet to really break out and go ahead and show us what it can do. The Tezos Foundation, valued at over $100 billion. Where do you think that money is going to flow into? Most likely their own asset. Once they've ridden the Bitcoin train up and down, where is that money going to flow into? So I think Tezos has really been a sleeper that I think is probably going to blow a lot of people away. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit if it gets into the three figures.
Yeah.
So, and then Lisk is another one of those that's also, they have the Lisk Foundation, hundreds of millions of dollars. They're not as big as the Tezos Foundation, but, it really hasn't done a whole lot. It's trading at a couple bucks. And I think that, most of these assets that we're in haven't done shit. They didn't do shit that first run up in the beginning of the year. The big ones for us, the TELs, the DENTs, the telecom assets that really went absolutely crazy and parabolic were great for our portfolio, and that really allowed us to kind of reinvest into some of these other assets that haven't done a whole lot, because that's, as we know, the best way to really compound your wealth is to take what's gone up like crazy and then stuff those profits into these assets like Tezos and Lisk, where that you're getting great entries, that they have a lot of money behind them, they've been around for a little while, and to us it just kind of seems like a no-brainer. So
sounds legit.
Yeah, I think they are legit for sure. I think that's all it does is kind of take doing a little quick deep dive and see kind of who's behind these assets and why. And
Right.
you find out how much money's on the balance sheets, and you find out that there's billions of dollars on the balance sheets. It's absolutely insane. And I found this one. This was an opinion piece from CoinDesk, why portfolio managers need to look at altcoins in 2022. It's because they haven't done shit. They haven't moved. They haven't done a whole lot. Zcash, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Tezos, Lisk. I mean, the list goes on. Our members, our subscribers kind of know where our funds are allocated, what our price targets are, and what we're looking to do. And I think what I'm going to do for all of our subscribers, because we have the free version and the paid version, I think we're going to give you guys a crazy ass deal for the new year. Give you a significant discount on what we're offering to our members here, so you guys can check out and kind of see where our assets are, what we're looking at. Yeah, right. No, we know it's a good idea, and I think it's a good way to kind of give back and kind of get some people involved that maybe can't afford the regular price of our newsletter. Maybe give them an awesome discount. So link in the description below. We're going to come up with something really good for you guys, and you guys can go ahead and check that out. We're very, very active in our newsletter here, and I'll kind of show you guys just to give you an idea of what you can expect for our newsletter here. And so you can kind of see how active we are, what some of the assets we're in, what some of our price targets are. Also give you guys the daily briefs along with, a host of other really, really good news, sleeper projects, etc. Kind of what we're looking at in the markets and how, like I said, I mean, look at December 10th. I mean, 1, 2, 3, several different emails went out that day. And, you guys will hopefully really, really find a lot of value in it. Feedback has been very, very good from our members. So definitely advise you guys go and check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And yeah, it's a good way to support the channel. And we want to give you guys a good deal. So we're going to do just that. And yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I think that's important.
Thanks, man. That was cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this video kind of went a little bit longer than we thought, but I want to just basically tell you guys thank you, and hope you guys have a happy New Year. Hope you guys all had a good Christmas if you guys celebrate that, and be on the lookout for altcoins. I think this next month or so is going to be absolutely, yeah, it's going to be absolutely massive. And so hopefully you guys have aligned yourself. You guys have got your feet planted in those assets. If you guys don't know which assets those are, like I said, check out the newsletter, link in the description below. And I think with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Like, share the video, get this stuff out there. And Rock, you got any last words?
Happy New Year's.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.